Hello. Throughout human history, there are several kinds of things that came about. Some things worked, some things didn't work. And we have several kinds of trauma. Now, this may seem like a big word, may even be, to the extent that some things didn't work really well, and that may be continuing to this date. We see wars, we see killings of different kinds, we see different kinds of diseases, different kinds of not so pleasant experiences of living. And these are all expressions of the trauma that's already there in our individual and collective psyche, and in our evolutionary history. Some wounds that could not be healed for whatsoever reason. And while there are these, there are also the good experiences, the wise learnings, which is why a parent, a couple want to give birth to to offspring, so that they can continue in some way, not only just hoping, but also wanting to pass on what is good and worthy of living for and by. So life continues, passing on what is good and hoping to sustain and become healthier and robust, while there are also wounds which could not be healed for whatsoever reason. Maybe the kind of medicine that it requires to heal it could not, or is in different stages of coming along. Yeah. And so today I speak about a different perspective on what trauma is. And trauma, consider it in a way, it's like the wound that the pod, the seed is in a pod, right? Now, if the pod does not go through a certain kind of a disturbance, a certain kind of a rupture, or the eggshell does not go through a certain kind of a breakage, the chick which is inside cannot really come out. Yeah, the seed which is inside cannot really sprout. The snake, after a certain time, it sheds its skin. So now you can call that old skin as or like the bark of a tree. Yeah, you see it grows, and then it sort of kind of gets fissures and splits a little bit. Now these things are signs. Now you can call that trauma, or you can call that something is growing. Yeah. So one part of trauma is what it takes for it to become better, what it also takes for it to grow out of what has been. So that's a good part of what you call as trauma. It is traumatic to shake around and then and have to come out of what used to be comfortable. It used to be comfortable and familiar, and then to jostle around and then find a way to now emerge. It's like the baby coming out of a mother's womb. Yeah. Now this is the best example for moving through trauma, what is called as trauma. Now, as a chick, it needs to rupture the eggshell and come out. The thing is, we human beings are not in an egg. Yeah, we're not in a pod. But being expressions of life, we do have an understanding that we can take from this development of a seed, from the development of an egg. Because now we are born from a mother's womb through the birthing canal, and then we are born. We don't have to rupture anything. Yeah. But there is a certain difficulty that a fetus doesn't, the baby inside does go through in maneuvering through the birthing canal. Now, that can be a nice way by which you can see what trauma is and how we can sort of move through. How can the chick, which is now not having a shell, we are we're people who are born without the eggshell. Yeah, we're born outside into the world and then discover what is safe and what's not safe, and then we learn how to move through things. Now, as a human baby who's born without a shell, but we do have in our genetic evolutionary history, because we did come from reptiles and the mammalian history, and then now we come to be human beings. Yeah, in our genetic history, in our genes is the evolutionary story of how life came to be. So we can learn from how life has been in different forms. If we can't remember them, we can just look around. We see plants, we see animals. We can see the different movements of life that has come to be. And being human beings and knowing that we came through the birthing canal, we can maneuver through life in a similar way. We can maneuver through our current difficulties like the baby did through the birthing canal. It may be difficult, but we don't have to tear something. Yeah, we can move through the difficulty without traumatizing anything, neither us nor our environment. Just like the baby did, moving through the birthing canal, the mother may be more accommodating that way when the baby moves in accordance with how things are. And then similarly, we can move through what there is right now, being in sync with, working with how things are to come to a better state, like the seed would move through the soil, yeah, working with how things are, moving through it, around it, yeah, with it, and then coming to sunlight. So the soil is what is, the environment is what it is, and the life within finds a way to come to a better state of health and well-being in a way that works not only for us but also for our environment. People are what they are, the environment is what it is. Yeah, there are different ways of being. There are different forms of people and structures, and we can work with them and come to be, yeah, grow and come to become who we can be, in sync with the nature of who we really are. Yeah, without going, actually finding ways by which to be more us and being with the environment as it is. So this is an invitation to how we could look at what we call as traumatic and suffering, and a way by which we can move through how things are. Okay, there may be difficulties, but there is a way by which you can see what is difficult in a different perspective, and thereby maybe this moment is another moment where you're going through a birthing canal moment. Yeah, you're moving through a phase and then coming to the next moment. Yeah, it's like coming to another world, but then that world, you can only know that world is there by moving through what may seem like difficult right now. And then once you move appropriately, then you come to what is other than that. Yeah, this too shall pass, but it's not about this too shall pass, but it's about the passing is in how you're moving. You can keep moving you can keep stretching, pushing, jostling, and keep getting more entangled in it, or you can work with it, and you can move with things. Yeah, and wherever you are, whatever you are, maybe that's a certain learning that's there. That's a certain movement that is there for you to become who you need to become. Yeah, and maybe the kind of seed you are, the kind of tree you may be in a seed form, requires those movements for you to become who you need to become. So, and you cannot compare with somebody else, because that person is that person. Yeah, not necessarily. And you have your life and they have their life. We are connected. We are there sharing the same space of earth, or maybe even the same home. But you are you and they are they. Yeah, and we can work together. We can coordinate and find a way by which you can be and I can be too. Yeah. So I invite you to look at life in this perspective and see what becomes possible for you. and how you may come to be and become in light of this perspective, this outlook on life, this outlook on who you are and who others may be, and hence who we can be. Thank you for listening. If you like the content of this video, I invite you to like and subscribe. And let's keep the conversation ongoing, and let's see what becomes. And I invite you to participate in what's becoming possible through this work. And your encouragement and participation goes a long way in supporting what this work is about and what this work makes available to our planet and to our future generations. Thank you for listening.